Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is the TWitWoW weekly recap. Let's get right into it. As far as wrestling this week, I watched a little bit from Raw and NXT. I really don't think I touched SmackDown. I think if I touched anything from SmackDown, well, really, no, I didn't formally watch any videos. I just read the titles. So we know that Cody Rhodes and Drew are continuing their feud. Drew assaulted Cody on his tour bus. Again, did not watch the video. I just see that was a clip that was uploaded. AJ Lee and Becky Lynch have joined the War Games teams. So cool, I guess. I'm already kind of over AJ Lee. I feel like it's just been kind of weird since she's been back. Maybe she'll get in a groove and it'll be cool. I don't know. And yeah, that's essentially SmackDown. But for what I actually did watch and did pay attention to, we know Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar seemingly for the Raw War Games match are going to be a part of that match. Gunther defeated Javon Evans, and the interesting note is he got his old theme back when he was Walter, so they've gone back to that theme. I don't know if there's going to be a deeper thing on that. Maybe his loss to Punk made him think like I got to go back to my roots, and he did that more explicitly. Big thing this week, obviously Maxine Dupree winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch. I really don't mind this. She has been working hard. I think the story has been kind of telegraphing that Maxine was going to be the one to do it. AJ interfering, I think, also is enough to protect Becky. And it got a nice pop from the crowd, honestly. So, it was all good there. WWE continues to do things with Andrew Schultz, which I completely don't understand. The guy's a fucking hack and a dipshit. But, it's a corporatist company that's curried favor with the fascist regime. So, really can't say much there. And not really much to say there. Really, my biggest talking point comes from NXT. Oba is back. Great to see him back. He's going to get another shot at the title, his rematch. I don't know if he's going to be called up after losing. I thought Trick was going to get called up, but apparently at Gold Rush, Miles Bourne kind of laid him out. It says Miles Bourne smashes Trick Williams with the steel chair. Now, I didn't watch this clip, but just from the sound of it and the thumbnail, it looks like Trick is the victim. So I don't know if they're going to try and turn Trick back face, and maybe Miles is thinking, I've got to turn heel to really make a statement, because I know him and Tavion have been kind of having this whole, am I going to make it? Because, Josh Briggs, who's totally the epitome of success, has gotten in their heads and is like, you got to take what you want. You can't wait for it to be given to you. Being a nice guy isn't going to get you anywhere. And so, yeah, it seems like Tavion's going to stay babyface because he's actually started beef with Briggs. Bourne, though, might have actually drank the Kool-Aid. Again, I don't know if anybody actually watched the segment. I know plenty of our audience are still watching wrestling more regularly than we are. But yeah, just from the thumbnail, it looks like maybe they're trying to make Trick go back to being babyface, which, I mean, cool, whatever. So yeah, and then the big thing, Tatum is no longer NXT Women's Champion. Izzy and the Culling betrayed her. JC Jane is now a two-time NXT Women's Champion. And I just, we all saw it coming. I'm not really surprised. This reaction isn't coming from surprise. It's more fatigue. We need smarter heels. And I've been loving Izzy Dane, like the material she's given, what she does with it. She's great. This is a critique of the booking and the writing, okay? I don't understand how you have the title in your group, and rather than saying, you know what, she's not one of us, but let's keep pretending that she is, and then we can really have the title in the group, you let the title go outside of your group. That makes no sense to me. Whatever my problems were all the way back in 2004, when they turned Randy Orton babyface so quick when he was a heel just 24 hours prior with the Evolution betrayal, at least Triple H as a character understood, I've never beaten Chris Benoit. The guy kind of has my fucking number. And now this guy, who's my protege, won the world title, and he thinks I'm in his corner. Let's help him retain against Benoit in his rematch, because that's exactly what happened. Benoit used his rematch on the Raw the night after SummerSlam. Let's help him retain, then beat the fucking shit out of him. Then we've got the world title right where we want it. We can get it back in Evolution. Whatever my criticisms long form of that whole thing, because they rushed it and everything, and that's why Orton's face run for a lot of people was a failure, because it wasn't organic like Batista's a year later. you at least got the premise, or you at least got the idea of like this villain being clever enough to say, hey, this guy's already on my side. Now we just got to stab him in the back and we can keep it. Why no heels replicate that? I never understand, because Izzy could have helped JC retain, and then she could have attacked Tatum and been like, I'm the only reason you're NXT Women's Champion, which has a grain of truth to it, because she ate the encore kind of rolling forearm move that JC does at Halloween Havoc.
Which she does really well, by the way. I just wanted to add that. I really like JC's finisher. I think she does that really well.
I agree with you. I agree. I'm glad you cut in. Please do that more when you have an opinion, because I know how I can go when I'm on a train of thought. But I agree with you. And Izzy could have said, I'm the only reason you're NXT Women's Champion. I took the bullet for you at Halloween Havoc, and then you don't even want to listen to me when I'm advising you how to be the best champion in the interest of the culling. I want that. It's that simple. So now I'm in a place where Izzy and Tatum are going to feud, which was always expected. I don't know if Lyra is going to have any involvement. I don't know. I'm going to assume no. I don't want to overcomplicate the recipe, right? But now my thing is, because Tatum got screwed out of this match, and you could argue that JC got kind of screwed at Halloween Havoc because, again, Izzy took the encore meant for Tatum. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying what I want as a aggrieved wrestling fan that is more or less left it, but is still keeping tabs on YouTube for reasons I don't even understand. I would like Tatum to win the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge, because Deadline is coming up. Win the Iron Survivor, get another big shot against JC, and preferably win that, and then have an honest, genuine babyface women's title run that doesn't have hanging over it, oh, hey, when's Izzy turning on you? That would be my ideal, especially because it doesn't seem like they're going to push Sol Ruka to the main event anytime soon. She's always going to be my number one pick, but Tatum, she deserved better. I mean, this whole story deserved better writing than what it got, because everybody could see this coming. And Izzy, as a heel, you're telling me that this woman, who very clearly leads this group, isn't intelligent enough to know how to pull a con? I don't believe it. And then the only other thing is, I actually did see AEW highlights, mainly Shelton Benjamin versus Speedball Mike Bailey. I just want to say, in the rare instance that I praise AEW, this looked like a fun match from the clips I watched. Shelton being, and I believe his mid-40s, moving the way he does is fucking insane. That is an athlete's athlete. And for Mike Bailey, I've never been the biggest fan of his, and that's not a diss. It's just, I've never really thought much about Mike Bailey, but I know he's been back in the States a few years now, and I will always say I am so glad he was able to come back to the States, because, yeah, he did good stuff here too. And yeah, it just seemed like a fun match. So that's just it for wrestling for me. Do you want to remark on anything I detailed, or did you actually watch anything that you want to talk about? Floor is yours.
I didn't watch jack shit. I had SmackDown up on my TV and paid attention to maybe 5% of it, and you pretty much touched on whatever I would have seen. The only wrestling related content that I watched this week was actually some 2003 WWE. Basically, I watched the build up to Team Lesnar versus Team Angle, and it was fantastic.
It's funny you're talking about that, because I've watched some Ruthless Aggression era stuff myself. I watched, I think it's TH14, the story of Brock Lesnar versus Eddie Guerrero at No Way Out. That was great. Eddie did some really underrated mic work there. I watched Kurt Angle versus The Rock from No Way Out 2001. I've been watching a lot of Kurt Angle stuff is what I've been watching. I mean, that dude, there will never be another Kurt Angle, and if there is, I may not live to see it. Like, that dude.
Yeah, I pretty much came away with the exact same conclusion, man. Like, I was watching the build to Team Angle versus Team Lesnar, and like, yeah, Kurt Angle is unbelievable. Holy shit, that guy's
dude, and he pops me. I watched the triple threat between him, Rock, and Taker at like Vengeance 2002 for the Undisputed Championship, and at the beginning of the match, the bell rings, right? And the three guys are doing the whole stare down thing, like, we're going to do this thing. And then Undertaker points at Rock, and they start jaw jacking, and Kurt Angle practically does jumping jacks, trying to get their attention, like, hey. And then they both look at him, and he's like, I'm Kurt Angle. You will pay attention to me. And that was so me-coded. And then they both punched him in the face. And he pops me. He pops the fucking shit out of me, this dude. So yeah, that's essentially it from you. Then already we get to go to our favorite segment, which I say with only a modicum of sarcasm, of course, the politics segment. Let's start with the zany but kind of lighthearted stuff, but also what the fuck. Trump apparently loves Mamdani now. That was insane coming out of that presser. I don't expect it to last.
Dude, I
I agree
saw
with the
he
people
was
that.
even like posting pictures of them like they're old buddies on his fucking Truth Social account.
Do you see the pics I posted today in politics where
Yeah.
they dress the same? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? But yeah, so I don't expect it to last, and I agree with the people that say, like, listen, he has dementia. Like, he has no object permanence. Like, you can love him the 1 minute, he'll hate him the next.
Well,
But
even if he didn't have dementia, which let's be clear, he absolutely does, he's also just a raging narcissist. So stroking his ego is absolutely the easiest way to get him to like you.
yeah, properly be like, wait a minute, you love me? Me too. We have so much in common. Come into the Oval Office. Um,
And meanwhile,
but
Mamdani's like, no, I think you're a fascist, but I'm a kind human being, so I'll be kind to you even if you don't really deserve it. And Trump's just like,
I
hey, I'll
really
take it too.
It's like, hey, I appreciate that. Look, it's so much better than explaining it. It's all right. It's all right. Because here's the thing. Now, but here's the thing. Because I really am, and Ashton can vouch for this, and I'm gonna pull a Trump and be like, it's okay. We can say all the bad things about me that are true. Uh, I know that I can be very impatient as a leftist. Like if it was up to me, we'd have the revolution like right now, right? But like when you're not a child, and that's an insult to myself, to be clear. When you're not a child, you understand that revolutions take time. You have to build networks, you have to build mutual aid, you have to raise class consciousness and that. And seemingly, we're stuck in I don't really know if it's safe to say we're stuck in neoliberalism anymore because it's very clear we're going through a shift. What the tech oligarchs want is techno feudalism. That is unequivocally what they want. That I will stand firmly on my ground
And
about.
they're the ones with
I
the
think
money, and in this system, that means they're in charge.
I know, dude. I love being poor. Then you have the burgeoning wing of the Democratic Party, which I say burgeoning, but it's been going on for a number of years. That, if we're really being honest, I think it's just a return to a very robust welfarist like FDRism. It's capitalism, but I think with more social control publicly, democratically. Universal health care, higher minimum wage, all that stuff. So we're seeing that, right? Now, for people that want to build a genuine socialist movement, you're obviously going to go to the burgeoning Democratic wing. But the thing about that is, and it pains me to say, because I did get a little angry at AOC this week, and I am still kind of angry at her because I think she's in a very different position materially than Mamdani. Because Mamdani also like didn't comment on Hakeem Jeffries' challenger, whereas AOC said, it's not a good idea. But there was a big post, and actually, you know what? I'm just gonna say it didn't come from me because I don't want to give away the person's name or anything. It did not come from me, but somebody gave a really great breakdown of why we just need to give Mamdani a chance. Like we really need to let his mayoral term be what it is. And if it's bad, if he's another Fetterman, then we call him another Fetterman, plain and simple. If he's actually able to do good stuff, that is a huge win for us because people need to see socialistic policies in action. They do, because that's how you win. Because then when people, it's kind of like, I know this is such a poor analogy, and forgive me, but it's kind of like when a child is afraid of the monster under their bed or just a monster somewhere, and the parent like takes them under the bed with them and it's like, here, look, see, there's nothing there. They open the closet. It's like, see, nothing there. There is such a boogeyman of socialism and communism. You need to get the sunlight on it, right? And the sunlight to me comes through policy. Because when you actually interact with the policy and you're materially affected by the policy, it's like, wait a minute, I'm eating more, I'm making more. This is socialism? More of this, please, you would hope, right? That's the ideal
Realistically, they'd be
condition.
like, man, that Mamdani guy, he's a goofball. He acted like he was going to be a socialist, but this is just capitalism done right.
Exactly. Exactly. And at worst, you'd have people be like, wait a minute, this is what Sharia law is? Well, let's fucking go. I'll convert to Islam, whatever, the fucking racists whose brains are fucking fried. Because that's the thing. I think there's a moment happening where I wouldn't call it class consciousness. I think that's way too audacious and just flat out inaccurate. But I do think what's happening is this kind of liminal space between being like socially conditioned by the system and having class consciousness where we're not quite at the point of class consciousness, but people have soured on capitalism. I think people are really seeing like
People don't really
there
fully
has to be another
understand
way.
class consciousness in full. But if you walk up to any
Yeah,
rando on the street and say tax the rich, they'll be like, hell yeah.
Ex- Precisely. And so that's why I think Mamdani is important. Now, AOC, on the other hand, again, I didn't like what she said about I think the guy's name is Chisay, who wanted to primary Hakeem
Yeah,
Jeffries,
apparently that
and
dude is
just her.
shady as fuck too, and that's part of the reason why they said that they didn't want to waste money trying to primary Jeffries for someone that might not even be better than him.
Damn, that's a shame. Either way, though, and this is where again, I'm not going to give the person's name, but I do want to quote because Mamdani apparently had a similar remark. He came up with an alternative response that I think is worth reading in full. Okay, yes, and I found it. It didn't take me too long. That's good. So he feels like this is what Mamdani and AOC should have said, and I actually agree with this because I think this is the perfect response. He says, "quote." I believe that primaries are critical to the strength of our democracy. Politicians who are elected to office must answer to their constituents, and that process must effectively play out in primaries, not the general election. If an elected official has done well for their constituents, then they should have no issue defeating a primary challenger due to the advantages of incumbency. And a primary gives an incumbent potential strength heading into a general election. On the flip side, if an incumbent has not served their constituents well, a primary gives voters the opportunity to express that in a democratic way. All to say, I support all primaries as a critical democratic process, but we'll be focusing on making New York City affordable as I promised on the campaign trail. I think that's perfect. And I think we really do. Even
Dude,
if we don't want to back a
his
particular
fucking
challenger,
commitment to being laser focused on just helping New Yorkers has been the number one point that has won him his election and has given him some success. Like, that's the main thing. Even when he was
yeah.
meeting President fucking Trump, he's in there with the President of the United States, horrible human being, and rather than doing what most of us would do and like screaming in Trump's face trying to get him to change his ways or just telling him how much of a piece of shit he is, totally composed, laser focused on improving life for New Yorkers. That's all it was. That's all it needed to be. And Trump fucking loved him.
And here's the thing, if Trump had any cognitive capability left, which I'm not a doctor. It's not for me to say how much he genuinely does have left. But Trump has always postured like he loves New York, right? Like that he is New York. So when you have
No,
a
we
mayor
know
coming
very
in,
well by now that New York has hated Trump for a hell of a lot longer than most of the rest of the nation has hated Trump.
exactly. So when you have a guy come in there, again, when you've postured like you've loved New York your whole life, being that laser focused to your point, Trump's not gonna expose himself and be like, no, fuck New York. No, he's gonna be chummy with the guy. So here is where I think Mamdani is advantageous to those of us on the far left. Again, we need somebody, anybody, to somewhat begin the normalization of socialistic policies and socialistic rhetoric. Because then, just like the right did for decades, you move the ball a few inches further down the field. And I know that sounds like incrementalism, probably because if we're being honest, it is. But again, the right has been so much better at politics than the left, mainly because there hasn't really been a true oppositional left when Democrats mostly are center right, right? You never stop moving the ball down the field when that's what you're working with. Now that you have this burgeoning sect of the Democratic Party that, postures as democratic socialist, even if you want to be more cynical and say they're a welfarist, okay, but anything's better than the techno feudalism that the oligarchs clearly desire.
Yeah,
You keep moving the
I
ball down the
actually have
field.
a relevant football quote for this. You can't go broke taking a profit.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I don't want us to all jump down. And again, this is coming from me, and I know I haven't been an exemplar in this regard, but I really think we shouldn't jump down Mamdani's throat. We need to give him time. We need to let him cook. I don't even really think he's been able to do anything as mayor yet. And also, if we're talking about real politics in the actual material world beyond our armchairs, he is going to have to negotiate with a lot of people. Now, just to be crystal fucking clear, do I think that because Mamdani's in and because people like AOC and stuff are gaining momentum, that grassroots socialist movements stop building their movements? Of course not. I will always believe in a vanguard of the masses that are politically awakened, that have mutual aid, that take care of each other and those around them, and that really embody socialism as an ideology and just as a mode of life, productively speaking, as far as resources and stuff like that, showing an alternative to capitalism, because that's what it is. We need everybody. We need the Mamdanis, whether we want to admit it or not, just as much as we need that vanguard, because anything that challenges the narrative that capitalism is one-to-one with human nature, that it's immutable, that, I started to read a paper. I was saving it because I knew it was big enough. There was no way I was going to finish it in the allotted time. But Margaret Thatcher used to say about neoliberalism, she used to use the acronym TINA. There is no alternative. Well, that rhetoric has had a stronghold for fucking decades. And breaking it is going to take time. I hate it, okay? Especially when you're looking at climate disaster and disaster capitalism and everything happening. I have always been honest with all of you, and I would argue, maybe to a point cynical, that I don't think we have the time that we could have had, with climate change and everything else. But with whatever time we do have, let's keep hammering at capitalism. Let's keep telling people there's another way to live. It does not have to be like this. And when the Department of Homeland Security, anytime they use the word immigrant for a problem, swap out immigrant for billionaire, and you've got pretty much the right answer 98% of the time, not 100% of the time.
That's very
So,
true.
yeah, like every time you hear them say immigrants are driving up housing prices, swap it out for billionaires, and then you tell me which one makes more fucking sense.
Well, no, but
if you're being honest.
that's very real, because there's like literally fucking Zillow is going around, and if there's like a neighborhood with 13 houses in it, they'll buy the first 12 for just barely above market rate, and then the 13th they'll buy for like way above market rate. And because that's the most recent sale in that neighborhood, all of a sudden every house in that neighborhood is worth that much, and then they can sell all of them for that much of a profit.
I'm telling you, folks, capitalism will be the death of us. Capitalism has made life boring and unaffordable for throngs of fucking people. And the
Ooh,
rich, yeah,
throngs, good word.
thank you. Ooh, I like when I pop you sensually. And the fucking billionaires are emotionally stunted teenagers that are miserable in their own lives and utter fucking psychopaths. Like, that's why I've talked to two different friends today, and I actually had an extensive conversation with one who is just absolutely wonderful. And I said, like, I'm tired. I'm not gonna do like first of all, it's not even accessible to people that we need to be reaching. The heavy theory stuff. I'm just gonna say, do you really think Elon Musk is better than you? I know Grok does, but do you? Because I think the idea that a guy like Elon Musk has so much power over all of us, when in our individuality and certainly in our aggregate, we are far superior to him, is fucking laughable to me. And so, yeah, fuck these people. And if Mamdani is going to help us even a little bit, I mean, because really the one policy I'll tell you, bro, that I'm rooting for, are the public grocery stores. I hope he's able to do even one, and people are able to show the difference, because apparently there was a picture that came out of a Republican, I want to say senator, that like there is a government owned grocery store in her area, I guess, for like military families, and the prices are so fucking amazing. And it's like, oh, so you're cool with government controlled grocery stores for like military personnel and military families, but God forbid we copy paste that system, just abroad domestically, then it becomes a problem. Well, no, like, it's time we stopped with the bullshit. So that's the one policy I'm really rooting for from him. Get public grocery stores, show people that affordable food is possible, and like get corporations the fuck out of our society. So yeah, that's about
I mean,
Mamdani and
you
Trump.
combine that with the rent freeze, and like, yeah, people are going to be pretty stoked about living in New York within the next few years, I think.
I even have to wonder what like migration to New York domestically, like people moving to there, if they're going to have like a working class boom, and if industry's really going to explode, because CEOs don't fucking create jobs. Fucking the working class coming in and building industries, that builds jobs. And I really have to wonder.
Demand is what
Yeah.
creates jobs. And do you know what
Yeah,
creates demand? Middle class people who have extra money that they're able to spend.
exactly. And if New York does that, goddamn. Um, I do want to say I didn't expect to cover this on this show because I wasn't really thinking about it. But the CDC, we can officially say, has been officially compromised beyond being fucking gutted. They put out that there is no definitive research that vaccines don't cause autism. And so they are pushing that line now on the CDC. And also, I just have to say personally that I'm very concerned because, okay, so just a little background on me. I'm very hyper conscious of COVID. I've gotten it once that I know of. I don't even know if I've gotten it more times. I hope it's only once, but even once is debilitating. This is not the flu. This is a multi-systemic, multi-organ affecting virus. For a long time, there was no wastewater data. And the last time it was, my state was moderate. They just updated it on the 21st, and I go today, and a lot of states are either low or very low all of a sudden, with only 2 states being moderate. Now, could that be accurate? I'm not saying it's inaccurate. I'm just saying keep protecting yourself, okay? Because we have to understand that every institution of the federal government is under this extreme right-wing ideology that doesn't believe in vaccines. It is very theocratic, obviously very autocratic. Now, when you look at the trends, they do say the trend of COVID is like still growing, as is influenza. We actually have another. I'm going to save that for Q&A because Super Blue asked about bird flu. We even have stuff like that going on. But again, I'm going to save that for his question. But yeah, they finally got the data back online, and my state went from moderate to low. Is that false? I'm not saying it is or isn't. I'm just saying it really is a shame when you live in a society where the administrative state is gutted, because if your skepticism was already at a certain level, it has had to have skyrocketed over the last like 10 months. Because it's only been, I mean, it's November 22nd today. We're only 10 months into this fucking second term. I can't believe it. It's insane. So, yeah, CDC has definitely been compromised. So, if they're doing the whole shit with vaccines and autism, just be wary of anything else that's out there. Keep masking when you can, vax when you can, which I know has become more inaccessible to people. Just protect yourself as best you can. I know I'm going to be going out for Thanksgiving and stuff to eat with family. Obviously, I won't be able to mask. I will be praying that things will be okay. I am vaccinated, but I really
Wait, did
try
you
not
say
to go out much.
you won't be able to mask?
Well, no, because it's going to be like eating, and obviously, if you eat and
Oh,
like masking kind of pointless in that case, you know. So like, yeah, it's a whole thing. But honestly, there's only so much you can do. Not enough people got vaxxed. We're probably never going to achieve herd immunity with COVID, and it's just a shame. I mean, this is the price of anti-intellectualism and a far right ecosystem that tells you, that they're poison or whatever the fuck. So yeah, quick note about the CDC, and then the other big story, and I'm sure there are many, but just the one that's on my mind. Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning. She is leaving, I think, what
mm-hmm.
was it, January 7th
No,
of next
second,
year.
January 2nd.
January
Or no, no, no.
2nd, huh? Well,
Actually, we're both wrong. It's January 5th. And I remember that because I remember thinking, oh, that's the day before January 6th, which is kind of a significant day in MAGA.
yes. Now, the funny thing is, if you've been paying attention to the reactions from people, this comes 2 days after her pension would kick in.
Yeah.
So she leaves and she still
She's,
collects the pension.
and here's the
Yeah.
thing, the pension, from what I understand, isn't significant. It's a pretty paltry pension, like maybe 500 bucks a month. But
Yeah.
more importantly, she gets healthcare for life at that point. Free healthcare for life,
Yes.
from what I understand.
Oh, wow. Universal healthcare, huh? That's what a
Mm-hmm.
radical idea. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's resigning, and good riddance. Good riddance. See, Ashton and myself, I mean, I don't normally like to speak for you, but I'm pretty fucking confident on this one. We're not these milquetoast liberals that if you say one bad thing about Trump, we're just going to be like, welcome to the resistance, Marge. Like, dude, somebody posted that at Dick Cheney's funeral, who the fuck was it? It was like Kamala Harris and Donald Trump were both at Dick Cheney's funeral, and they thought that that was a perfect metaphor for the duopoly, like in America.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, fuck Dick Cheney too. But yeah, anybody that criticizes Trump, like that's the thing. I do agree we need a big tent. Like I, as a leftist, I could make my tent a bit bigger, but you don't make it so big that even your opposition, the fucking fascists, the war criminals, people like that, are in your fucking tent. That defeats the fucking purpose. So I'm not about to open my tent to somebody that was a habitual liar that stood with Trump. Her voting record, I think 90% of the time she voted with Trump. Um, Fucking Jewish space lasers, which you've already said like every headline should fucking open with that. The woman who said Jewish space lasers, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has a break with Trump. Like, no, I'm not here for the whitewashing of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I said it last week. I think I said it the week before that, and I'll keep saying it. She's going to resign, and I guarantee you there have probably been people, thankfully I haven't seen it, but I'd bet my shirt on my back that there have been people like, oh, she had the courage to stand up to MAGA and she got death threats, and this is what happens. No, you're not some hero. You're not some icon of free speech or whatever, especially when up to the end, you really couldn't even fully criticize Trump. You were just a true MAGA believer, whereas MAGA isn't an ideological movement. It's a cult of personality. Trump only believes in himself. You got conned like everybody else did. and
Yep.
you don't deserve to be celebrated for that.
Mhm.
Go fuck yourself. So,
Mhm.
you have any thoughts about Marjorie Taylor Greene retiring or resigning?
No,
Practically the same.
no,
Yeah,
I'm not interested in saying much more about her, honestly. Um,
yeah.
they voted to release the Epstein files this week, and apparently MSNBC is actively talking about them on their show, including mentioning that Trump raped a 13-year-old girl.
Yes, Katie Johnson, I believe her name was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, thank goodness her story's getting out there. I saw a powerful ad from Epstein survivors. And yeah, oh, actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna save that for later because we're talking about really important stuff. Not to say that this wasn't important, but it's too tenuous. I'll wait to give it separate space. But yeah, I really do hope the survivors and everybody um gets justice. And yeah, we have a major fucking problem where economic elites, more like fucking parasites, are sexual sadists. And because they are again psychopathic, and so psychologically numb that it's like, what pleasure can I find? This is the shit you end up with. Children being fucking victimized, young women being victimized. And yeah, it's gotta fucking stop. Um, I don't know what'll come of it. I found it very eyebrow raising that there was only one no vote in the House to release those files, and everybody flocked on that dude and said, search that dude's hard drive immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, big time. I think his name was Clay something. Let me see if I could
Not
find it.
Aiken.
Not Aiken, no, and I'm not Aiken to out this piece of shit. So let me see if I can find his name. House
So
no vote.
you are Aiken to out his
I
name.
get well, I'm Craven, not necessarily Aiken, because it ain't hurting me to do this. I'm gonna take a lot of pleasure in it. Um, Clay Higgins. Clay Higgins from
Oh wow.
Louisiana voted no. Yeah, the
Hmm.
final vote was 427 to 1. I don't know if that dude thought other people are going to vote with me, so I won't stand out, which is ridiculous. I mean, how many votes when, the vote doesn't go the way that the masses want, do the names of the no voters get plastered? I mean, even with the government shutdown most recently, those Democrats, their names were everywhere, right? You couldn't have thought, if I'm the one no vote, nobody'll know. Everybody knows, you fucking thumb. Jesus Christ. Um,
He's a
so
thumb.
yeah, I mean, I've seen his head shape. It's accurate, and I'm apologizing for nothing because, well, I'm right. Uh, so yeah, he was the one no vote, and way to really die on that hill, that guy. Like that said no. I believe billionaires have a right to be pedophiles. Damn it! Like Jesus fucking Christ, we are so cooked. The idea that it was unanimous in both chambers, like we're fucking cooked. Like that. Jesus
Hmm.
Christ. But it was unanimous in the Senate, which honestly might be more surprising to people because, like, the Senate does feel like the more divisive body between the two, usually. And no, everybody was like, whether it was because of conscience, which should be the right answer, or what I'm sure was the answer for some of them, because I mean, grand old pedophiles, am I right? GOP. I guarantee you, some politicians were like, man, I really do believe in everything Epstein stood for, but for political expediency, I should vote yes to, get all that dirt out.
Hmm.
So, yeah, but we got there. I don't know what happens now. Probably nothing. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. When you
I
control
hate
all
how
the
right you are.
yeah, yeah, when you control all the legal apparatuses and the juridical apparatuses and the police, when you've pretty much been a friend of police being like, yeah, we'll give you your funding and be meaner to people. I mean, are they really going to arrest you? And if they arrest you, I mean, you're probably going to get a sweeter deal than Ghislaine Maxwell got. So, you're billionaires, you're fine. Keep raping the planet, keep telling us all to go fuck ourselves. You're doing amazing, sweetie. It's not going to change for you. I promise. Um not until enough people get fed up. Which actually that isn't actually no. Before I move on too quickly, did you want to say anything about Epstein? Because this was a huge story this week. Do you have any opinions you want to share?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you get a turn. You're beautiful, and there are two of us here. So, I guess then to continue that, while my handsome co-host is just going to let me keep running the ball down the field here, um, I did talk to you about AI.
Yeah.
I did talk to you about AI after we were done The Bad Guys 2. A little spoiler warning for our pop culture section. Great movie. Great movie. You really got a winner there, DreamWorks. Um, yeah, yeah, that AI bubble, man. Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Mhm.
I don't think you've said a million because I'm just not wrong, and everything's that shit. Oh god, dude. Oh god, dude. It is so fucked. Honestly, though, I will say as just a quick side note that's like kind of tangential, but still a part of the comprehensive picture of AI. I am laughing because my academic friends might have gotten the last laugh. Students may now have to pay to cheat because now I think ChatGPT, they're coming out with a new service that's like, oh, write these papers, no plagiarism, whatever. And they're pretty much downgrading ChatGPT. We're like, hey, if you continue to use this, your profs will know. So why don't you fork us over that money per month and you can keep passing your classes? So
Wait,
now
you
they're
mean to
trying to
tell me that schools are becoming even more pay to win?
exactly. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Dude, it fucking crazy. So, beyond the fact, just a little minor detail here, and I wish it was something that we were blaring, morning, noon, and night, but the resource consumption of these data centers is insane.
Dude,
Um,
you know what? Here's actually something that I can chime in with.
yes, please.
It's not just resources as in like the water for cooling and the actual electricity being used to run them. We're talking actual physical chips being used here. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard about this. RAM prices. When I say RAM, I mean like computer memory, RAM.
Yeah.
Prices have
Yeah.
fucking skyrocketed. I swear to you, dude, within the last, I would even say 6 months, more than doubled. Like, I keep in touch with prices on this kind of stuff at least a few times a year. I'll just kind of check in and see, oh, well, how much money would it cost for me to build this PC that I have in my mind right now? At least like once or twice a year, if not every couple months. And like, dude, at the beginning of this year, you could find decent 32 gigabyte kits of RAM for, I mean, shit, 70, 80, maybe $90. You will not find any 32 gigabyte kit of RAM right now for under like 170.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, RAM prices are going insane. And what that's going to lead to is it's going to lead to another graphics card price hike because graphics cards have onboard memory. So
Right, right.
graphics cards are going to end up being more expensive as well. And I'm almost even
Yes.
I'm even worried that it might even affect stuff like motherboards because, dude, like, yeah, it's if we end up having like a full blown chip shortage, then it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect motherboards, going to affect CPUs. Everything's just going to get more expensive. Like, dude, honestly, I think depending on the price, I might end up buying one of these Steam machines that's coming out in a few months, if for no other reason, because if it's affordable enough, you won't be able to build a cheaper PC that performs better
Yeah.
because of how
Yeah.
crazy pricing is. And Steam or Valve, I guess, Valve has, like actual professional relationships with all these chip makers, so they're going to be able to better afford things like RAM and storage and graphics cards and stuff like that. And I mean, hell, even then, they're using a mobile graphics card in the Steam machine. They're using a graphics card designed for laptops in this what looks to be basically like a mini PC shaped like a GameCube. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, man,
Dude,
things are going crazy right now.
Dude, I am so glad you chimed in with that. And again, whenever you have something, just take the ball away from me, please. Because again, I know I can get rolling because that was really invaluable. I had no idea. So again, we're seeing this bubble. None of these industries are profitable. We've already talked about the profits they would need to reach to be sustainable, and it's insane. Because I think I
It's
said two
basically
trillion per year.
impossible.
It's basically impossible. This is a bubble that's going to burst, and we are all going to feel it. While again, we see socialism for the rich, but I'll tell you this. Now, I hope Kyle mentions the name of the book again because I do not remember the episode where he mentioned it the first time, and he mentioned it again more recently, but he didn't give the title of it. So, Kyle Kalinske, Secular Talk. I listen to him regularly. He's married and has a family with Crystal Ball, who does Breaking Points and other stuff. They're both left wing commentators. I would say not only the most tolerable, but they're genuinely good. I genuinely like Crystal. Seems like a sweetheart. Kyle seems like a good dude. I actually think Kyle could go further left, believe it or not. When he started his show, you could see where he was averse to communism, but he's even said a few times on his show, I get why people talk about guillotines. And I'm like, damn, I never expected him to say that on his fucking show. So I even think he could go further left if you want my opinion. But
Well, and
he talked
Crystal,
about
I
this.
know Crystal because she used to be on a YouTube series for The Hill. I don't remember what the name
I,
of the series was, but she used to basically do what was designed to be a populist, relatively like both sidesy kind of like commentary show because she worked with a guy named Sagar, I believe the guy's name was, and she represented populist leftism and he represented populist conservatism, and
yes,
they would cover a bunch of different stories on each show, and each of them would kind of present their perspective on it, and they would have guests on that would also kind of offer up more populist stuff. And then eventually I think they both left. I think Sagar went on to do something totally different, and Crystal is doing Breaking Points now.
yes, yes.
I actually,
Um,
yeah, like I was watching, Crystal Ball stuff before Breaking Points was even a thing.
and because of you, I learned of her existence because of you. So I really have to thank you for that one and give you public credit.
I'm trying to
But
remember what the
Kyle's
Rising, the name of the show that she was on Rising, on the Hill. I mean, was called
yes,
Rising.
yes, yes.
Sagar and Jetty was the guy that she did that with. And actually,
So
he and Crystal together were the ones who made Breaking Points. I didn't realize that he was part of Breaking Points early on, but yeah, they uh, left the Hill together to make Breaking Points. So Sagar and Crystal were kind of the origin to Breaking Points. Now I don't know if he's still around,
yes.
but there you go.
I think that he is. The last time I saw those two work together, and then I do want to get back to my point about AI because this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
But just very quickly, the last time I saw them, I kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, and I should have known because he is conservative. Because I think he was defending what was he was defending some deportation
I
or
mean, yeah, that doesn't.
detention that Trump
None of
was
that
doing.
surprises me.
Yeah,
Sagar
no,
is.
yeah,
I think Sagar has a better grasp on populist conservatism right now than Trump does. But
yeah.
back in 2016, they got along great. He loves Trump.
Yeah, dude, like I don't know. I guess it's not my business to say as a white man myself, but I look at these conservatives like Vivek Ramaswamy and Sagar, and I'm like, they want to just do that to you too, right? Like even Stephen Miller, who's fucking Jewish. Like, what you think you're gonna do this for them, and then they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, Stephen, you can stay. Like, I'll never understand. It breaks my brain if I think about it too long, to be honest with you. Um, but where it gets interesting. Okay, so now we've set the stage. You guys know who Kyle Kalinske is. You know who Crystal Ball is. So they're together and they live together. And he was saying that Crystal was reading this book by this guy who talks about when revolutions happen. And he says revolutions historically seem to happen when the white collar people are feeling the economic pinch and the societal collapse. Now, I say that because it's estimated that within I think it was 5 years, no more than 10, but I think it was within 5 years, 10 to 20% of white collar jobs are going to be replaced by AI. Now, I don't know necessarily if I agree with the thesis of the book. Again, I would have to read the book. I don't want to be uncharitable. I want to know the title of it, and I think I would read a copy of it because that sounds immensely interesting for a guy of my interests. But when I think about the most famous revolutions in the West, namely the French Revolution, he kind of has a point because as much as I love the French Revolution and it had a major effect on me as a child, that I didn't even realize all the way back then that maybe that was even the beginning of my leftism. It was a bourgeois revolution. It was a revolution by the upper middle class that looked at the elites and said, we should be where they are. And they kind of, they had the most substantial gains. Obviously, there were poor people a part of the revolution as well, of course. But they were really that upper middle class really were kind of the backbone of that revolution as far as like the gains and what was made possible. So I could see a repeat. I could see a repeat where when unemployment gets so bad with no safety net, because here's the thing, who's the one talking about UBI? Elon Musk. Now I want you to think about that for a second. Elon Musk,
Wait, is he
twice now
really?
that I've seen. He has said twice that I know of that, oh, don't worry, when mass automation happens, that's when we're going to do universal basic income. But no, the fuck you won't. This is the same guy that got offered to end world hunger for $6 billion a year. Like, he was given a comprehensive plan to do it. And it might not have even been $6 billion per year. It might have just been $6 billion, period. And he said, no, thanks, I'm out. Like, this is the guy that we believe is going to champion universal basic income, not on your fucking life. So yeah, he's the one saying it. Meanwhile, all the billionaires, all the tech bros have secret bunkers that they're going to hide in if their AI gets out of control, which every scientist and technology expert has been like, hey, maybe let's slow it the fuck down. We don't know what we have here. We can't handle what we have here. Neil deGrasse Tyson a few weeks ago, I don't know how long ago this was, but I know I saw a video a few weeks ago quoting, I think again, it was another Kyle Klinsky video, where he showed a video of himself, AI generated, saying flat earth theory is correct. And it looked exactly like Neil. It sounded exactly like Neil. If you would put that on a YouTube channel that would even get a fake check mark, like, oh, I'm the official Neil deGrasse Tyson YouTube channel, you would have so many people thinking, oh my God, Neil deGrasse Tyson officially endorses flat earth. We don't know what the fuck we have here. Now, I'm not a Luddite, which again is like pretty much a technophobe, a person that wants to destroy all technology. But I'll be honest, I do think AI has social and medical applications, but when you look at how these data centers are poisoning people, when you look at the resource consumption, when you look at what the end game for AI is for the fucking billionaires, would I be opposed if every AI data center went up in smoke? Not really. Not really. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think that might be a net positive to society at this point, because it's not even the technology, it's who's guiding the technology. And the people guiding it do not have our interests at heart. We are so many worlds apart from each other. They're in a completely different class socioeconomically. It's never going to come down to us, right? It's never going to be, ours to control or enjoy this technology. And it's killing the planet. It's making things more expensive. I'm so glad you brought up the RAM and the potential for motherboards to go up and everything else, because so much of the world is digitized. If you're priced out of that, what the fuck happens to the economy? And I really do just think it's a bubble that's going to burst, and even the white collar people
Dude,
are going to feel it.
that
Yeah.
bubble bursting is going to be such a net positive for humanity.
You know what, dude? And I'm so glad you put it that way, because you know what I want to do for politics? I want to talk about one last thing here. A lot of things that are happening are really fucking bad. I don't want what I'm about to say being like I'm whitewashing fascism. I would never fucking do that, because obviously black people, brown people, like any person that's not in that white male paradigm, you're fucked. And I'm still scared for myself as a disabled person, even though I meet the first two criterion. But I will say, if you're looking at a holistic global view, domestically, it's fucking awful. Domestically, it is fucking terrible. And even some parts internationally. I know some Canadian friends are still terrified. Is Trump going to try and wage war with us? Whatever. And those are all valid concerns. Venezuela, the Middle East, of course. But this really is the death of American empire. And I'm going to tell you right now, as crazy as I fucking sound, if these are the pains we have to go through, because God knows other people are going through far worse pains than, quote unquote middle class, even though the middle class doesn't exist, white people. If these are the pains we have to go through, fuck. I mean, the American empire needs to fucking die. And honestly, the airline industry fucking dying with flight attendants saying you shouldn't fly right now, that's going to be less emissions in the atmosphere. So that's going to help the climate, even if only marginally. Like, there are bleak positives to take from this. And yeah, I agree with you about the bubble, because even though, again, it'll just be a way for the rich to consolidate, I think that's going to open up every eye that still needs to be opened, that this shit fucking sucks. And I really do think then, what do you do but fight back? Because it's either you fight back, or then I'll tell you what comes with the bursting of the bubble, in my opinion. You really are on the fast track then to techno feudalism that they want, because then what happens? You buy up the assets that all crashed for pennies on the dollar, you do mass privatization, and then everything fucking sucks. And then what do you do? Right? So I really think we're close to that point. This is not sustainable. This bubble is not sustainable. I'm not going to take a guess when it will burst. I'm just saying that I do think it'll burst. And again, you see the airline industry, they're struggling, agriculture struggling, China keeps ascending in the energy sector. We've already crossed as far as climate. I posted a video yesterday. Climate news has been terrible. We've crossed the 2.5 degrees Celsius threshold. That doesn't mean to stop trying, and I'm proud of every country that's still investing in renewables, but we are still so married to oil and gas and just fossil fuels. It's ridiculous. But I think you're really seeing, especially in Gen Z, I think you're seeing a growing number of Gen Z being a part of a socialistic degrowth movement where it's like growth for the sake of growth. We've said it many times. It's the ideology of the cancer cell. And now people are like, well, degrowth doesn't have to mean, oh, I can't have fun stuff anymore. It means, maybe McDonald's doesn't need to keep giving plastic toys and fucking Happy Meals. I don't even know if they do like fucking toys anymore in their Happy Meals, but that would just be an example, right? If they were still doing that, maybe stop producing the plastic there. Maybe stop producing this that just ends up in a landfill. We don't need all this fucking stuff. And honestly, part of a degrowth movement, because I know you've talked about this a few times when we get really into our socialistic discussions, if you would just end planned obsolescence and just make better quality, longer lasting products, that is a major step in degrowth right there. Because rather than making a phone, and I'm just speaking hypothetically here for the sake of conversation, rather than having a phone that I would need to replace every year, maybe I would need to replace my phone at minimum every 10 years or 20 years. God,
I
like
think most
that's
people
less
replace their
resource waste.
phone when it stops working, which is usually like 4 to 6 years ish.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine if you could design a phone that could last 10 years, right?
Well, I
Like
mean, yeah,
that,
in a
that
capital or in a communist utopia, we would all, as a society, all of our best minds would get together and design the ideal phone for sure.
Yeah, 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 and that's part of degrowth that I wish people, because I think they hear degrowth and again that panic, that capitalist response of, but I like consuming, I like stuff. Look, I love my books, right? I love having my digital library, that kind of stuff, whatever. We're saying, do you really need all those appliances? If you could have an appliance that was more efficient than all 10 of those, that
Yeah.
how many minerals were used? Do
Yeah,
you do
you
you
like
really need
consuming, but do you like planned obsolescence? Probably the fuck not.
Exactly. And that's where I think the degrowth movement would do itself a huge service because it is a growing movement. I love to see it, but I think it would do itself a huge service if it talked more about ending planned obsolescence because that's such a huge part of the fucking problem. Um, but yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. There needs to be. We just need to do it over. I was even telling my friend today that I'm really getting into that point where you can't even productively talk about theory or like future planning until all this shit goes away because it's just too much. It's just too fucking much. Like we just need to get rid of it all and then just build. And by that I mean we need to get rid of the capitalism. We need to get rid of the oligarchic class. And then hopefully we could rebuild an education system that in a few generations could phase out racism, phase out sexism, whatever. Like it's suffocating. There's no life for anybody. Nobody can afford shit. People that were already suffering, like black and brown people and women, are still suffering and worse now because of the economic anxiety. People that thought, well, I'm white, so I'm safe. No, the fuck you aren't. It is a very small club and you're not in it. And you bought into the identity politics that they wanted you to buy in with when you all the time were like, oh, I'm against identity politics. I'm against wokeness. Wokeness for the right, asshole. Wake up. Wakey, wakey. They're fucking conning you again and again and again. But yeah, sooner or later, those scales have to fall, and it's going to be a really wild time when it does. So, on that note, let's move on to the most fun segment that's definitely the levity after this segment, pop culture. But
Oh boy.
because I have talked nonstop, but I think I was very, very, nice and checking in and being like, you're beautiful and stuff like that. So I don't feel too bad. I'm going to let you take the floor on this one. Talk about the popular culture you've consumed this week.
All right. Well, I'll talk about the stuff that we've done together as a family first. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
first up, we caught up on Stranger Things. We were doing a Stranger Things rewatch, and we finished that this week. Second of all, we are also caught up on It Welcome to Derry. Episode 5 is going to be dropping tomorrow night, and we'll be watching that on Monday. And finally, well, not finally, penultimately, we rewatched The Bad Guys and watched the short films and TV specials, and then watched The Bad Guys 2 because that dropped on, I think, Peacock this week. It might have been Netflix. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Um, and we just recently, literally this morning, or I guess it would have been last night, started watching a Dungeons and Dragons campaign DM'd by one Deborah Ann Wool, known to most of the people in our audience as Karen Page in the Netflix Daredevil franchise. I know she was also in like she was in like the Vampire Diaries, and she's been in some really cool stuff. She is fantastic as a Dungeons and Dragons dungeon master, though. And we knew that based on a TikTok that we had seen where she basically is on John Bernthal's podcast and he's curious about what the hell Dungeons and Dragons is. And rather than trying to explain it, she just drops him into a roleplay scenario and has him do it. And she was fantastic then. And so we've been kind of keeping our ears out for, any Dungeons and Dragons campaigns that she might be DMing. We found one called Tales from Wood Creek, and it's been amazing. And the coolest thing about it isn't even necessarily just that Deborah Ann Wool is the DM. We've got other sort of celebrity guest stars from the Marvel universe in it. We've got Jessica Hennick, who played Colleen Wing in the Iron Fist Netflix show, and Iman Vellani, who is Miss Marvel in the Disney Plus Miss Marvel show. They're both fantastic. I love them, especially Jessica Hennick. Her reactions to things, because she's new to D&D, have been fantastic. We are caught up to episode 3, but episode 4 did drop literally yesterday, and we're going to be watching that tonight. So that's a lot of fun. The Bad Guys stuff was really fun. I love that franchise now. I didn't know it was a franchise until recently, but turns out it is. It has a lot of content. There's also a Bad Guys series that has come out since The Bad Guys 2 that we're probably going to want to watch, but unfortunately, they have like a backup set of voice actors that were, you know, used for the TV specials and for the series, and the voice actors are a huge part of the charm of what makes the Bad Guys great, and the backups are solid but not great. So I don't know for sure if we'll watch that series, but it's on the list of stuff for us to potentially watch at some point. That's it as far as watching stuff. In terms of gaming, holy shit, have I had a week. Um, I mean, we
Walk us
always
through it.
we always play Brawlhalla and Rocket League. Most nights we play Brawlhalla. Some nights we play Rocket League, and that's about it as far as what we do together now. But man, I have had a lot of fun this week because I've been really going out of my way to find mobile games that I like. And so I spent one night a couple nights ago looking through all of the Netflix gaming mobile games, and I downloaded and installed quite a few of those. Those have been pretty fun. And then I also just last night found a video that's like the top 120 mobile games that you can play right now, basically. And I just watched through not even all of that. I'm only about 55% of the way through that video. And I've been adding a bunch of games, and those have been really fun. Plus, I don't know if this was last week or if it was earlier this week, I installed Super Smash Bros. Brawl on my most powerful gaming handheld, and I've been playing that intermittently. That was a huge nostalgia blast. I might also have to install Melee. They both are played on the same emulator. It's called Dolphin. It's fantastic. And Dolphin just added support for retro achievements this week as well. So that's another really fun thing. I've also been trying to get some Steam games to work with my handheld that I was just talking about. It's called the AYN4. And I played a little bit of Hollow Knight. I played a little bit of Ori and the Blind Forest. I tried to play Brawlhalla, but it was horrible. But then I realized that there's an Android version of Brawlhalla, and I can just play that. And I was really bad at it because I learned how to play Brawlhalla with a mouse and keyboard, and trying to convert that into a controller is kind of miserable. So Brawlhalla on mobile, probably not going to happen for me, unfortunately. But I still I'm just having fun trying to find new stuff to do. I also there's a volleyball game that I've had for a little while now called The Spike that I love, but it's a little bit awkward to play on a phone because it's like touch screen controls, and a lot of the time you'll like put your finger on the control to make your character do something, and you'll cover up some kind of important thing that you might want to see because you're covering part of the screen with your thumb. So I used my handheld to install the Spike, and it has controller support, and it's amazing. I love that game. So yeah, it's been a really fun week for me just because I have been really open to like trying, downloading, installing, and just kind of recycling games. Basically, just kind of getting rid of games that are basically just ad farms that are like, oh, hey, watch this ad and you get a bunch of stuff. Hey, watch this ad and you can do this faster. Hey, watch this ad and we're going to give you more free stuff. Fuck you. Fuck you and your ads. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm finding new shit that doesn't have so many ads and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So that's been my
Nobody
week.
tells Ashton what to do.
Thank you. And in terms of music, honestly, it's been pretty like samey. Noah Kahan has been on the rotation. Hosier has been on the rotation. A little bit of Olivia Rodrigo is on the rotation. K-pop Demon Hunters songs, I love those. A little bit of XG. That's pretty much the extent of it, honestly. Um, oh, Noah or not Noah. I already mentioned Noah Kahan. Conan Gray is another one that's in the rotation. Just kind of the vibe that I've been into lately. That's all I have though. So now, John, it is your turn, my friend.
Not really much to say on my end, brother. You introduced me to Noah's music with Stick Season, which was a beautiful, beautiful song. And then I listened to Judy and Rhapsody's collab,
Oh,
that hip hop collab that you
Juden.
posted.
There's an N at the end.
Jordan, yeah, Jordan, of XG, the leader of XG. That was
Mm-hmm.
fucking amazing. Real
Yes.
motherfucking
More
bars.
people need to watch. Dude, I pinged 5 people and Abel gave it a thumbs up but hasn't said anything about it. And you're the only person that's actually said anything about it.
Damning is it that I'm the only one? Because
Yeah.
I know when you recommend music, like it's really a coin toss, and more often than not, I won't say anything. But this one, I actually came through for you. Look at me. God, my
I
face is
pinged
impressive.
Sean and Javaris and Cliff because I know they're all fans of rap music. I know they all like rap, and I think they'd appreciate the bars. Rhapsody is like a rap legend. Like she is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. She is that level, and I'm just
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. No one else is checking this out other than you.
Especially, and again, other than me, which itself is a shock again. But I gotta tell you, man, just about that music video because I don't want to dwell too much on it. But it really did, as somebody that isn't as well versed in hip hop as I would like to be. I tried to listen to like the old school stuff, but it really did have that like early two. And other people said this. It
Yes.
had that early 2000s vibe,
Yup.
and yeah, it was like because nowadays if a song is under 3 minutes, I get a little pissed. But when it's that packed with content, you can't even be mad. Like it was, they immediately hit the ground with bars. Like it's just I love that.
Yeah.
More music like that, please. So yeah, that was fantastic. I think the only other thing that was unique to me this week, beyond what I watched with my family, we're watching Life After Lockup, which is also tangential with Love After Lockup. They kind of intertwine. And yeah, look, folks, your boy, I can be sophisticated and I could be like, yes, yes, I agree with Kant's categorical imperative, but I also love trash. I do. I do. I
Delicious
absolutely love trash.
garbage.
I love garbage. I love smothering myself in it. I love just watching it with my family. And yeah, we're watching garbage. It's incredible, honestly. So we're doing that. But yeah, the only other thing, for me individually is I did finish Has Been Hotel. I told you that I'd give this season two, an 8.5 out of 10. I really love the songs. I think I might actually slightly prefer the songs this season to last season, even though the songs last season were fucking beautiful.
Mhm.
These I thought had a lot of personality, were a lot of fun. Um, I will say the finale to me, it could have been a bit more. I wanted a bit more. I what I should say is I wanted a bit more. It really comes from me. I really though I have to say fuck you for that cliffhanger. Has Been Hotel, because this is now the second season that you've teased Lilith like in a bigger way, and it's just wow. Okay, cool. So can't wait to see her send a carrier pigeon to end season 3 before we finally get something in season 4. Probably. I don't know. I'm being an asshole. So yeah, that's really the big thing from me. And I've also been rewatching some just Yu-Gi-Oh. Mainly, I just love the
Ooh.
Battle City arc. I think it's my favorite arc in the
Dude,
show,
same.
clearly.
I love Battle City.
You know what though? I really have to say, and I know the proper response should be, "We know, John, we know," but you guys are a lot nicer to me. So I have to say again, I fucking hate Seto Kaiba so much. Like, I Eric Stewart as a voice actor is amazing. I just want to make that clear. He fucking kills it. I can't imagine anybody else doing Seto Kaiba. But the character, Seto Kaiba, I want you so badly to go back to that orphanage and be poor. Like, I hate you so fucking much. I told Ashton, and again, Ashton can vouch for me on this. I didn't think far enough though. See, I didn't think far enough. I'm revising that today. But I told him originally, after Yugi beat him, which was delicious, I would have had Joey beat him for quote unquote bronze, and then Kaiba walk off the blimp with the last thing he does being looking at Mokuba and being like, "You're the president of Kaiba Corp now," and he just walks off and he lets gravity do the rest because that exactly. Jesus Christ. That really hit me in my weird places. But no, I didn't go far enough. Because what should have happened was he should have lost to Ishizu in the first round.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking hilarious. Yes. Yes. Because here's what I'll never understand about the character again, because Eric Stewart's performance, fantastic, the whole series. What I hate about the character, he was so much more interesting in Duelist Kingdom because he was a dick to Yugi, again, tore up the blue eyes that his grandfather owned. They do the duel, mind crush, whatever. Then the mind crush seemed to soften Kaiba a little bit, and he seemed to open his mind to things. And then, I don't know how you don't keep your mind open after fucking Pegasus happens, but okay. And, he could have had far more of an interesting arc where, like, he wants to believe he's in control of his fate, maybe because he needs to believe it because of his trauma and everything. But then if he lets in all this occult stuff, it's like, well, what happens to my worldview? But instead of being like a curious, kind of open and vulnerable character that could still be a dick, as a security, as a defense mechanism. That's what I'm looking for, as a defense mechanism. No, you're just a dick. That's just it. That's all there is. And so, yeah, fuck Seto Kaiba. I hate him so much. So I've rewatched some of that arc again because the duels are a lot of fun. I think him versus Yugi is an all-time duel in the series at Battle City. Dude, he's so he really was. He predicted Elon, like that Elon would be the problem that he is with that fucking Roman Coliseum hologram. Like, that is some Elon fucking shit. Look,
Bro,
I
did you
generated
see the
people that love
interaction
me.
that Elon had with someone on X? I think you might have even been the one that posted this, honestly. He had an interaction with
See, I
someone
know
on
the one you're
X who
talking
was
about.
talking about the downfall of Rome, and they were like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't have a life. This is all I think about. I know more about ancient Rome than you. And Elon's response was literally just, no.
Yeah, I was the one that posted that. And yeah, like, Kaiba had such Elon energy. Look, I made holograms of people that love me. Cheer me, everyone. Do you know why you need to make fucking holograms? Because nobody in their right fucking mind would cheer for you, you shit bag. Eat an ass, you fuck.
Is this an
So
eat shit and hair situation?
dude, for Seto Kaiba, 1000%. He'll be the president of Eating My Shit and Hair Incorporated.
We
Jesus,
need to find something to like add on to the shit and hair for people who are like really egregiously awful.
dude, guillotines. After you eat everything, I'm gonna put the puke bucket right between you and the guillotine. So you put your head in the little slot, and then gravity will take care of the rest, like it should have at Duelist Kingdom, and again at Battle City with that fucking blimp.
I think
Um,
my favorite Battle City duel that I remember was the the Weevil Underwood one, where he actually is able to summon the queen. I forget her
the
name.
Insect Queen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so cool.
Yeah, lay those fucking eggs, you little. Yeah, you know what?
And of
This
course,
isn't an
though, of
NSFW, Tim.
course,
Yeah.
they couldn't just have him get like a clean threatening loss, even in loss, because he lost that fucking duel. But even in a close loss, they still had to have him cheat to get that close.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The planting of
Oh
the
my.
parasite card in was it Joey's deck or was it Yugi?
It was Joey's deck. It
I
was
thought it
Joey's
was
deck.
Joey. Yeah.
God, how it would feed. So disgusting and yet kind of hot. But more importantly,
Oh
beyond all of
God.
that, I want Team Four Star, I guess, employed some new female VAs, which is really fucking cool because I watched a part one of a Sailor Moon Abridged. Now, here's what confuses me about the titling of this video, because I'm sure a lot of people saw it, and I know it got shared twice in our Discord, once by me, and I think DBK also shared it because nobody apparently scrolls to see who has posted what already or whatever. So it was Toonami Abridged, and then it was Sailor Moon Part 1. So I'm wondering if they're going to do another Sailor Moon parody or if they're going to do like a parody of a Toonami lineup. And Sailor Moon was just part 1 of that lineup. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like I'm curious what's coming out next, but
Maybe
it was
with all of this funding that they've somehow managed to acquire to be able to afford to do this, maybe they can do the fucking Boo Saga.
they're never going to do that because what they did was they released a bunch of vignettes called Boo Bits that they put together all in one video. So they abridge certain scenes, but they're never going to do like the full season. Um,
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
I mean, I hate that.
yeah, yeah. Tell you the jokes weren't bad. I feel like in a way maybe I've kind of aged out of this kind of humor. I don't mean that in like a smug way. It's just, I really I think the most I laughed was one of the Sailor, maybe it was Sailor Mercury, Sailor Venus. Look, all due respect to Gala, I never watched the show. So I apologize, but one of them said, "I'm gonna call a cab," and then a group of cops ran towards them and she said, "I said a cab." So I thought that was clever wordplay. But that's
Ah, I
yeah, yeah,
disagree.
yes. Yeah, yeah, you adorable son of a bitch. So yeah, that was that. But then the other big thing I watched is finally my smexy angry bald daddy has returned to the internet. Dan
Oh,
Henschel. He made a short film titled Sister, which was kind of horror esque, and I
I
really
mean, let's
liked
be
it. I'll
real.
tell you.
Every video that Dan Henschel uploads that involves his face is kind of horror esque.
Oh, whoa, 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 wow. So, yeah, that was a great video. No, being serious with you though, man, because I like to tease and stuff, but being sincere, I really did enjoy the video, and I like creators like him, man. It's making me enjoy the internet again a little bit, which
Well,
is
that's
nice
good.
because there have been points where I'm like, do we even really need this? Have I been wrong about this the whole time? But he's great to the point where I'm telling you, when I really get the economic security, and I'm talking having several hundreds in the bank, like after rent is paid, I would like to support at least one or two Patreons that I'm thinking about. Because I definitely want to support Jonas Seika, who's like this philosopher that I really, really love. He's got my favorite philosophy YouTube channel. I still need to watch his series on the German Revolution. But then Dan Henschel's the other one that I'd like to financially support on Patreon because he's apparently got a lot of content on there that's never been on YouTube. And like, I want it. I want it because I would just sit, I would listen to it, I'd have a good time. Like, he's worth financially supporting. Um, oh my God, Ace is here. I feel like it's been forever since we've seen him in a chat. Holy shit,
Yeah.
Ace.
Wow.
And he knows Dan Henschel. If I could hug you through the screen right now, oh my God. Oh my God. And yeah, yes, yes, somehow Lex Luthor returned. Yes, because I saw that video too. I don't know if you're making a vague reference, Ace, to that video where he rants. He did a video called "I'm Suing the Superman People," and it was all about how he saw the Superman trailer and he's like, "An angry bald man, that's me. I literally invented it," and he's crashing out over what's the actor's name? Nicholas Holt's fucking Lex Luthor,
Hmm.
and it's just hilarious. I fucking love that so much. So yeah, it was great to see him back doing a very different kind of video, but I wouldn't mind seeing more of that. And I think that's the extent of my pop culture stuff that I'm gonna prattle on about. And so I think we can get to Q&A. So let's cue those A's, baby, or
Ooh.
let's A those Q's. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Question
yeah.
one from Super Blue, because who else? Do you see Fallon Henley and Laney Reed becoming champions next week? Apparently, Fallon versus Zarya for the Speed title, and Laney versus Kendall Gray for the Evolve title are happening.
Yes, but mainly because it doesn't affect me anymore, so I don't give a shit. But I'll say yes, because of course you want Fatal Influence to really look like a dominant faction now that JC is on her second run. So yeah, and then maybe if they all have gold, they won't be sniping at each other and they can keep the faction together a little longer. So yes. What do you
Putting
think? You think yeah, they're doing it?
putting
Yeah.
my I care about wrestling hat back on temporarily. I think it would be really, really unfortunate for someone as mid as Laney Reed to beat someone as incredibly talented as Kendall Gray for literally any reason whatsoever. But Fallon versus Zarya could go either way. Fallon is whatever. Zarya, if she loses the title for Sol Ruka, because she would be defending it on behalf of Sol Ruka, there's an interesting story to be told there. I would prefer that Sol Ruka is able to defend and eventually lose the speed title for herself. But if that doesn't happen, then it's not the end of the world. And now I'm going to take the cap off and say I really don't give a fuck what happens because, like you, John, said, it doesn't affect me anymore.
I wanted to say something so me, but also maybe a little too weird for right now. So yes, I respect that
No,
answer, and we can move
no, I
on.
don't accept this. I need you to say what you were going to say.
I was gonna say I like that you took this the cap off because it exposes all that scalp. I would just be like, yeah,
Oh, I mean,
let that hair fly, baby.
yeah, I was going to say none
Fuck.
of my scalp is actually visible.
Thank goodness, because you know how I feel about you. Well, that's a whole separate thing, but yeah, So on to our next question.
Second
What
question,
do we
which
got?
is how fucked are we if bird flu runs wild across America like COVID-19 did? I mean,
Oh,
we aren't the
oh,
ones who are
unequivocally.
fucked. It's the cats who are fucked, which might lead to us being fucked because if all the cats die, then we're going to have some serious pest problems in terms of mice, rats, birds, etc.
I think also I do agree with your answer because cat mortality, from what I understand from bird flu, is 100%. Your cat has it, they're dead. Which is why I'm so glad that Wookiee's an indoor cat because no,
Is
no,
she
like
though?
I am not gonna. I mean, we're taking her out more, but nowhere near chickens, so that's good for right now. But yeah, I am not giving up my precious baby for anything. She's actually on the futon right now, being super cute. But there is always a fear that it achieves human to human transmission, and if it does, even though epidemiologists, I actually said it right. Holy fucking shit.
Whew.
Um, say that they still feel like the risk is low. Low is not zero, right?
Yeah,
So
that's the
if,
important
if
thing.
it your
Trump
face is
only
the
had like a
important thing.
16% chance of winning in 2016, and look what fucking happened.
Dude, that election broke everyone. And if I
That
laugh, it's
election
so I
broke
don't cry.
everything. You don't even have to have a conscience to be broken by that election. It ruined everything.
That's so true. But hey, at least we got his double milking dance. And, God knows that aged well. Um, so yeah.
But
If it achieves
I
human to
thought
human,
he gave Bill Clinton head, not a handy.
that's so true. Oh, Bubba.
Although there
But
are more and
but
more
no.
people speculating that Trump is gay now because of the Bill Clinton stuff and the Mamdani stuff.
I mean, him and Melania had such a warm, exotic relationship. I mean, I'm shocked. I will tell
Gala's
you.
entire Galatea has this theory that he's literally just like the quintessential bottom, and he's willing to bottom for anyone.
Oh my god! But his manly aura. How is this possible? But no, I will just say seriously to get back on the question. If it achieves human to human transmission, we should be gravely concerned because while cat mortality is 100%, human mortality is 50-50. And if you're on the living 50, you're probably going to live with complications afterwards because that is rough on the body. And
I didn't know
that's
that
the
it was
thing.
that bad for humans. I thought that it was like not even as bad as COVID when it comes to being on humans.
No, humans are bad, brother. Humans are
Huh.
bad. Like it's
Oh
it's a
wow.
coin flip whether humans, yeah, are gonna live or die. That's why, like, I respected your answer, but I had to chime in with what like I've known about it from what I've read. Yeah, we do not want this to achieve human to human transmission. Again, the odds are low, but that's not zero, and we really need to be prepared. But the problem is, CDC is compromised. Medical funding has just been fucking destroyed. So whereas we were able to do Operation Warp Speed, ironically enough, under the first Trump admin for COVID, I don't even know if we'd ever produce a vaccine for bird flu in this way. And then you figure like it absolutely would achieve, in my mind, pandemic potential, not just epidemic potential. And I feel like other countries would have a better response to it as far as like preparedness and stuff like that. And we're just going to be left again with generations, by the way, that are still coming out with long COVID numbers are still climbing, everything else. Now dealing with bird flu. I mean, you're dealing with a bioethical crisis that is just unprecedented in certainly in my lifetime, maybe even all time, when COVID hasn't even ended, when there are still fucking variants. I saw today that I think we're up to what was it? The XJ variant. And I'm like, how many
Lord.
fucking variants of this virus have there been? And then you add bird flu on top of that. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, we are just fucking cooked, man. I'm telling you, if it achieves human to human transmission. So,
They clearly
yeah.
spent too much time hyping up super bacteria. We didn't realize that it was going to be the viruses that were going to do us in.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, our I don't even know the phrase I want to use. Our infrastructure, I guess, our bio health infrastructure is just awful. It's just fucking awful. We don't have universal health care. CDC's been compromised. Um, yeah, I don't know. I
It
really
feels
don't
like
know.
one
I
of
don't want to.
those scenes in like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where there's a dam about to break, and they'll shove a finger in one of the leaky spots, and then another leaky spot will pop up, and they'll shove a toe in the leaky spot, and then it just keeps popping up, and eventually the whole dam just busts.
I mean, here's the thing. I never want to be. Yeah, so much for that, right? I never want to be hyperbolic or doomerist on this show, like in a way that's harmful. I mean, sometimes yes, I'll get passionate, my emotions will get the better of me, but I do try when we're analyzing to be as grounded as possible. But I would keep encouraging people when you can mask if you don't have to eat out with family. I personally would avoid it. I'm hoping, me getting sushi with the family for Thanksgiving doesn't go too badly. And if it does, it was nice knowing all of you. Just want to put that out there. But just do what you can to protect you and yours. Because it's not a fucking joke. And again, we've already seen we're in an age of radical far right austerity. They don't want you to have health care. They don't want you to have a meaningful wage. They really want you to be responsible for everything. I mean, we literally have people in the medical side of government like RFK and Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz, just to really put a fine point on that, that say, oh, well, if you eat right and you take care of yourself right, you wouldn't even need a doctor. That's not how disease works, people. I've known fucking vegans that drink a gallon of water and jog fucking 5 miles a day, or, more than that even, get cancer. It does not give a fuck. There's so much about the human body that we don't know. And I think in a way that is so beautiful, but in another way, it's horrifying when you have an apparatus that just does not care to know and is like, oh, if anything, we know too much. Let's wind back the clock. Let's go back before vaccines. I mean, it hit me like a truck because there was somebody that specialized in what was it, like medical history in a certain century. I think when polio was like really ravaging and before vaccines really came on the scene, and the diaries of families that lost children. A father was like, I wanted to have the energy to cry, but I just went outside and I laid on the floor just because I didn't have anything left to give. We take for granted so much of modern medicine and modern comfort that our predecessors would have killed to fucking have. And here we are spitting in its face, being like, well, actually, if I do homeopathy and I just don't get the vaccines, my immune system will be stronger than ever. It's a fucking disgrace. And meanwhile, the pharmaceutical industries continue to get richer. Health insurance companies continue to get richer. And just it's us. It's us because they really don't give a fuck. So yeah, Super Blue, I would be worried, not overly worried where you can't live your life, but again, be sensible. Mask when you go out, be selective when you eat out. If you can even just avoid to eat out altogether, would be my honest recommendation. But I know for some people, it's like you don't want to be, the turd in the punch bowl. So you're like, oh, sure, I'll roll the dice. Get vaccinated when you can. And really, when it comes to bird flu, try and cut down on your meat consumption. If you're a person that eats a lot of chicken or whatever, that would be one place to start. So, but again, and always listen to any media that you feel you can trust
I
with
don't
experts
want to
talking about
just
this.
come off like I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I'm genuinely trying to learn here.
Yeah.
Is fully cooked chicken still a risk of spreading any kind of disease?
Here's the thing. I am going to be honest because I think you're asking a fair question. I'm going to be honest with you and I'm going to say I don't know, but I would assume no. But
I
I
think
know,
the whatever governing body determines whether food is healthy or not. Is that the CDC or is that the FDA? I think it's the FDA, right?
I think it's the FDA, but you know that they've also been downsized. So
Well, right, but this
yeah,
isn't from the FDA.
yeah.
New research by the FDA. I'm talking about old research by the FDA showed that like once certain meats, and there's different numbers for each one. Once certain meats reach a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, it kills off any kind of bacteria or viruses or whatever that would
Yeah.
have otherwise been in them. So I think as long as your meat is cooked correctly, I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think Ashton's right, guys. Again, I don't want to be doomers or whatever. I really do care about all of you, and I want to give, as somebody that's not even a doctor, neither one of us are scientists. It's just common sense and reading what we read and sharing it with you the best we can. I would just, though, just be mindful of where you are and what time this is. And just keep living your life as best you can. But yes, Sir Blue, I saw that story of the man that died in Washington State, and that is concerning because it didn't seem like human to human transmission, I don't think, unless they said explicitly that it was. But I mean, if we get more widespread human to human transmission, I mean, yeah, it's fucking bad. It's really fucking bad. So, next question.
Third question from Super Blue: how does it feel to go 3 complete calendar years without live reacting to anything AEW related whatsoever? Apparently, Full Gear 2022 was our last official AEW live reaction, and that was on November 19th of 2022.
I'm feeling fucking great.
Yeah, I
Let's
mean
do it for
it's actually kind of
yeah.
funny you say that because Full Gear 2025 happened literally tonight and might even still be going right now, knowing how long
Yeah.
AEW shows can be. If I look up Hangman Page versus Samoa Joe is the main event, and that match is still going right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I haven't missed it at all.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
very happy about it.
definitely same.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I do have some good news coming out of Full Gear tonight. Statlander actually retained against Mercedes. Imagine that.
That's really fucking cool. Good for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, though, there aren't any really like big time results. They crowned another new champion tonight. Ricochet won the Casino Gauntlet match for the AEW National Championship, which is a new title that they just introduced. I don't know. I don't think any titles change. Oh yeah, FTR won the tag titles. That's that. I think the reason that I didn't see that as like a change is because that those titles might as well just be the FTR Young Buck Championships.
Yeah, for sure.
Mark Briscoe beat Fletcher for the TNT title. That's
Good
about
for
it.
Mark Briscoe.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna hate
apparently
on
the
that.
Hangman and Joe's world title match is in a steel cage, so maybe there's gonna be a swerve. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be amazing if the swerve was Swerve Strickland. But anyway.
Uh,
Yeah, I on
yeah.
myself.
Fourth question, I should say, from Super Blue. Do you think you can go a full calendar year without live reacting to WWE? I do.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself, I should preface that. Speaking for myself, easily. I am so over this fucking
I
company.
don't miss it at all.
Uh,
I really don't. Like
I
if
don't miss. Yeah,
anything, I I realize basically when I hear or see things about the WWE and like decisions that they're making and stuff like that, all it really does is make me feel justified in not watching the product anymore. It makes me feel, you know, like damn, this is horrible. I don't miss it at all.
God, you know what's so sexy about you is that some people talk their shit and other people are correct, and yet for you, it's one and the same thing. Because I agree. It's like I hear stuff from this company and I'm like, ew, that's unattractive, unlike my fucking face. So why would I associate with it? Am I nuts? No. So I'm not gonna do that. I do the YouTube clips just because I do like kind of giving my now at this point super casual thoughts on things with you guys. Um but yeah, I really couldn't give a fuck. And even then, seeing some of like the YouTube titles like AJ in War Games, I'm sorry, I don't care. Becky in War Games, I don't care.
I
Sheamus being injured kind of deflated me for the
hmm.
last time is now tournament. Because it's like, oh great, I love going through to death, but he doesn't need this. I was talking to your mom about this actually last night while you were AFK. I said, I love going through to death. I mean, I'll still sing his praises to this day. I think he's like that type of wrestler that I absolutely fucking love. But he doesn't need this. I feel like if it was a Trick Williams or a Javon, or especially for me, an Obafemi, that would have been fucking huge and instant star made. I don't see how, unless what you're planning to do with this is Gunther beats Cena, and then that's kind of the rocket fuel to get him back in Punk's orbit. He didn't need Cena to get back in Punk's orbit. He needed to get in Punk's face to get back in Punk's orbit. Be like, I'm fucking Gunther. Like, I don't need to earn a rematch. Like, look at me, kind of thing. Could have been very simple. So it just feels like a waste. Like, yeah, I keep up with it because I never want to skip the segment completely. Although that day may come where it's like we do wrestling. It's like, do you watch anything? Nope. Do you watch anything? Nope. And then we just have politics and pop culture remaining because they should have to earn our interest on anything. But yeah, for now I'm still keeping up with YouTube. But
Oh yeah,
God, it's
there
like,
was one thing
yeah,
that I saw WWE related that caught my attention, and that's that Giants running back Cam Scattaboo was on their show, got into a little scuffle with Dominic Mysterio, and they are now selling Cam Scattaboo merch.
I know I'm a child, but I have to say that last name pops me Scataboo. I
It's
I
not even
love it.
spelled like you would think either. It's spelled like it would be pronounced Scatabo, which is less
So
hilarious. But Scattaboo.
Bough, right?
What?
Yeah. So Bough is how it's spelled, if I had to guess.
No, it's SK. I'm gonna spell it for you. It's SKATTEBO,
Oh, huh.
and it's pronounced
Interesting.
Scataboo.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
He was really looking like a revelation for the Giants earlier this year, but then he got an injury, and I think he might be out for this season, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess yeah, because the question was, can you go a full year without live WWE? I mean, me being a complete asshole, I say I hope so. I mean, God, I really don't miss that fucking company at all. And honestly, having the extra free time, I think it's been great for both Ashton and myself. Shit. I mean, I've been enjoying it. So yeah. Next question.
Fifth question is actually just for me and my face. Super Blue wants to know if I think that the Bills can still make the playoffs at this rate. I don't want to give you a an uneducated opinion, so I am going to pull up the NFL standings and I am going to pull up the Bills' remaining schedule. They did just lose to the Texans, but here's the thing: despite losing to the Texans, they are still 7-4, which is a really strong place to be. And if you just go by wins in the AFC, uh, they are currently sitting at the, let's see, one, two, three. They're tied for the fourth best record in the AFC. So obviously, they can't win their division if the New England Patriots keep on this roll. New England is currently 9-2, absolutely killing it. Drake May playing out of his mind, great stuff. But if they don't win their division, they just have to be one of the top three non-division winners, and they get into the playoffs. And the rest of their schedule, they've got a Steelers game, a Bengals game, at the Patriots, at the Browns, and then at home for the last two games against the Eagles and Jets. I think the absolute locks that they're going to win are at the Browns and at home against the Jets. Those are absolute locks. I don't see a world where they lose those two games. So that would put them at 9 wins. And then they just need to win one or two games against a combination of the Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, and Eagles. And I think they can win two of those four games. So let's say they're 11-6 by the end of the year. Yeah, they're going to make the playoffs, I would say. Um, I think the Eagles are probably the most likely of those teams to beat them because the Eagles are outstanding running team and the Bills can't stop a run to save their lives. But I think that there's an outside world where the Bengals go down, or that both the Bengals and the Patriots lose to the Bills. Um, I also think that the Steelers aren't a guaranteed loss for the Bills either by any means. I think that the Bills could absolutely win that game. It is in Pittsburgh, so yeah, I'm going to stick to the 11-6 prediction for their record by the end of the year. And I really don't think that there are going to be six other teams in the AFC with better records than 11-6. So yeah, I am going to say that the Bills are going to make the playoffs this year.
I
Next,
think that was wonderful. Next
thanks,
question.
bud. Final question from Super Blue is for both of us. Why do tech bros, Republicans, and the billionaires think their bunkers will save them when the shit hits the fan?
I should just say that wasn't Super Blue's final question because I know he posted something at 12:06 a.m. A question 7 for both of
Oh,
us, but
I,
we'll get
I
to that in
just
a
saw
minute.
that. Yeah, good call.
Good face.
You too.
Well, here's the thing. Oh, well, here's the thing. Look, I don't want to be cynical or anything. I can only shoot from the hip and be honest. Probably because they've gotten away with everything so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the best indicator of the future is inferring from the past. Inferences from the past say, well, I've gotten away with child rape. I've gotten away with crashing the economy and having my losses be socialized to the public. I've gotten away with corruption, insider trading. So I should probably be able to get away with civilizational collapse, or at the very least, more narrowly societal collapse. And like, obviously, fuck the rich. I don't say this in sympathy with them, but can you blame them? Because when you do inductive reasoning and you're like, okay, all of this stuff has happened in the past, what's the best predictor for the future? Probably the same thing. Yeah, that's why they think they're going to get away with it, because we have made a culture that they've gotten away with it. It's really just that fucking simple. I would love to be proven wrong in this instance, and we find their bunkers and we rip the door off its fucking hinges because somebody is so full of adrenaline and rage, they just rip it clean off, and we drag Elon out and we rip his innards out and we eat them. I mean, my personal dream was he tries to get on one of his rockets and he feels a tug on his ankle. He screams no, and then that's the end of it. I mean, it definitely keeps me up at night in some good ways, but realistically, yeah, they'll probably get away with it, and then they'll get to dictate the rules of society. Like, we're doing techno feudalism now because we're smarter than you, and people will still be like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'll just again just be like, why am I alive? So that's that's really what I think about all that. Do you have any optimism to offer the situation? Your face
No,
is good at that. So
no.
you should say no.
I said no.
My God, Pop. I would joke and be like, I've grown fond of you, Ed, but that's a lie. I love you. I think that's what it is. I love you. So, next
The
question, please.
feeling's mutual. Our final question of the night from Super Blue. He asked 7. Jesus Christ. Who will win the traditional Survivor Series, or who would win, I guess, the traditional Survivor Series rules under Lucha Underground rules, where the losing team gets sacrificed? Los Ingobernables de Japón versus the MFT.
Go MFT in this one. Yeah, because you have Matanza on the team, except he's Jeff Cobb now. So, like, yeah,
I mean,
he
this is
channeled that.
this is an alternate universe thing, so I imagine it would still be, you know, just regular old Jeff Cobb.
True, but even so, I'm gonna go with
Or actually, it would
MFT.
be JC Mateo, who was the first person eliminated apparently on that match last night on SmackDown.
Jesus Christ! Wow, that's revolutionary booking there. Great shit. Uh, yeah, but also isn't Lij old as shit at this point? Like, not saying MFT is any younger, at least not by much, but goddamn. So who are you picking? I'm picking MFT. I've made that pretty clear.
Yeah. Um, if we go by like 2016 or 2017 Lij when they were at the peak of their powers versus current MFT, I would pick Lij to win. But if we're just doing current day, both teams, Lij's cooked.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right. I guess we can move on to high spots and low shots. And I didn't jump the gun this time. I did everything in order. Uh, so I guess my low shot. You know what? This is a bit cheeky, but I'm still gonna go with it. My low shot is the MAGA base because they were really like all in on the Islamophobia against Zoran Mamdani. And now that Trump likes him, have fun squaring that circle, jackass. So yeah, Mag's my low shot because again, the leader they idealize, like their picture of him doesn't correspond 1-to-1 with reality because he's dying of dementia and he's a narcissist. And yeah, there you fucking go. So who's your low shot?
Um, hmm. Oh, Tatum Paxley, unfortunately.
Yeah, I knew one of us would pick her, and I'm like, no, no, it's okay. High spot. I guess just to continue with that trend, I'll say my high spot's Ron Mamdani. I mean, here was a guy that I even shared with you a tweet that somebody had where he's like, "Oh, I hope he goes into the Oval Office and Tom Homan's waiting for him and deports him back to Uganda." And then he's like, wait, I thought this guy was a fascist. Like, what's going on inside the White House? You fucking fool. Zoran was able to completely charm the president without doing that centrist liberal shit where he throws a certain group or a policy under the bus. Even had Trump's endorsement of, you can call me a fascist, it's okay. Yeah, Zoran was probably the biggest winner in politics this week because what this does for his political capital, at least in this moment, because even if Trump does waffle back to he's a jihadist, he's a communist, whatever, like you have a really positive presser with the president. And, I think even just for image and stuff, whether it's saying bad things about Trump or saying good things about you, it's a win-win to me in that moment. So I think Zoran was the biggest winner in politics this week, in my personal opinion. So I'm going to go with him for my high spot.
I'd say that's pretty reasonable. My high spot, I might as well just stick with the wrestling theme. Since you did two political ones, I'll do two wrestling ones. My high spot this week is, believe it or not, Cody Rhodes, because he is on Team Roman Reigns, I believe, in Survivor Series War Games. And he cut a very impassioned promo on Friday that the entire internet has been glazing him for. Somehow or another, this motherfucker just manages to keep on maintaining his overness, and I'll never understand how, but the magic of being a white boy just keeps on working, baby. So yeah, Cody Rhodes has had a really good week because his popularity is stronger than ever.
His theme song still sucks though. So
You know,
oh
objectively,
fuck.
I might not hate his theme song if it wasn't his theme song.
You know what? I love you, and that's okay. Yeah,
I
that's
appreciate it, bud. You gotta love me through this one.
that's
I thank you.
and you're worth it. You're worth it. That I don't even need to hesitate on. I know you're worth it.
Beautiful.
So yeah, you're beautiful. And fuck oligarchs. So yeah, guys, this has been the TWitWoW Weekly Recap. Come here for all your best dystopia news. But no, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please leave a like, file out, subscribe, click the bell icon notifications so you miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And I don't know when we'll see you guys again. Join the Discord, $3 a month on our Patreon so that you get the updates first. We all caught up on Naughty Gold and
Bro,
Stardom, so
before
I'm
we go
guessing
off the air, I gotta report this. Samoa Joe is your new AEW World Champion.
it was worth it for the Ashton giggle.
Oh
By the way,
my
I guess
god.
while we're reporting things that have just come out, another guy that I occasionally listen to, the Romano Report, is reporting that there was a new poll from the American Research Group, and it shows Donald Trump's approval rating is now just 35%. So he
That's
just
still
keeps
way too
on
fucking
fucking winning,
high.
baby. Beg pardon?
That's still way too fucking high.
Dude, what I think is, I think we're close to really hitting that floor of where the cult really is numerically. I think the cult is somewhere around there or at most 30%, but I don't see it going any lower than 30. If it goes to even to 27, which I know Kyle's been predicting, I'll be shocked. I think 30 is his absolute floor, but that's my opinion. Would love to be proven wrong. And yes, Ace, so wonderful to have you, and please tell your family we're thinking of them. We're rooting for all of you. We love you. And Super Blue, you know what, man? You're really keeping this ship running. You're one of the few people that actually ask questions. Love you, brother. I hate LA Knight with a passion, but I love to see my friends get what they want. So I know what you're rooting for. I'm rooting for you, especially because it's not my problem anymore. So yeah, and way to go, AEW. You had a baby face that the fans genuinely love, and he had a great fucking story. And even though I love Joe to death, I don't really know if he should have any business being world champion in 2025. But we'll see how it goes,
Apparently,
I guess.
apparently Hook came out and slammed Hangman with the title belt, and that's why Joe won.
They're gonna maybe do a callback to that match where Joe fucking brutalized Hook, and Hook will be like, that really taught me something that night. It's like,
Well,
Jesus fucking
they're in the
Christ.
same faction. They're both in the Ops.
Oh, see, I didn't know that because I thought the ops was just Shibata and Hobbs. I didn't know that Hook was also a part of it.
Hook and Samoa
Um,
Joe and Shibata were the original Ops, and then
know that.
they
Yeah.
added Powerhouse afterwards.
Uh, yeah, I did not know that. So this is a case where I'm still devastatingly handsome, but so very ignorant. And yeah, I'm glad. That's good. That's good for me. I'm okay. I'm okay. So Yeah, that's it, folks. We'll see you when we see you. Again, we're all caught up on Stardom and Memorial Go. We might have more Stardom this week because I know they had shows, I think, last night. They probably have another show tonight or something. So I'm guessing we'll probably have Stardom Thursday. We'll see. And of course, I have my brother-in-law, his dad's coming for Thanksgiving, like kind of week. So I'll have to talk with Ashton about even my side of things because it's Thanksgiving week. Have a great holiday, by the way, everybody, just in case we don't get another time to say it. And yeah, be good to yourselves and each other.